Many healthcare businesses think that branding is just about looking good, but true branding goes much deeper. It's what builds trust and makes people choose your services. In this video, I'll share simple strategies to help your business stand out and generate more leads. I'm Lena Chang, and I'm one of the co-founders of Best Friend Jack. If you'd like to learn more about healthcare branding, check out the playlist link below. What could be holding back your healthcare lead generation? There's a common misperception among health tech companies that growth marketing alone, things like Google Ads, YouTube ads, direct mail, is sufficient for lead gen. But what people don't always know is that this approach often fails without a strong brand foundation. And a well-crafted brand is more than just aesthetics or a catchy tagline. It's really the backbone of all successful lead generation efforts. Without a clear, compelling brand story to anchor your marketing, even the best campaigns can struggle to deliver meaningful results. And so what is a brand story? It's a narrative that conveys who you are, what you stand for, why you matter, and how you're different. So what are some of the unique challenges in healthcare branding? One is complex audiences. Health tech companies often need to engage really diverse stakeholders: patients, self-insured employers, health plans, health systems, providers, and each of those has unique priorities. The challenge is crafting a cohesive narrative that resonates across all these audiences without losing relevance. I want to share an example. The core brand narrative that we developed for our client Geode Health was that they're the most trusted single point of access to comprehensive outpatient mental health care services, connecting patients to the right care as efficiently as possible. Now, messaging across all their audiences always laddered up to that core narrative, but the messaging is tailored for each audience. So for patients, the emphasis was on convenience and access. But for providers, the focus was on coordinated resources, the coordinated resources that Geode could provide them, as well as the collaboration that they had with other providers. And with payers, it was all about cost savings and improved outcomes. And number two, there's skepticism in healthcare. So of course, in healthcare, trust is harder to earn because the stakes are higher. And especially for consumers, there's a lot of widespread misinformation. So buyers often require longer learning journeys to feel confident about a solution's credibility and a fit for their needs. The way to address this is to build trust through consistent messaging and proof points that guide your stakeholders through the learning process. You can use a multi-touch approach with things like data-driven content and real-world outcomes and testimonials to address concerns at every stage of the journey. How does great healthcare and health tech brand marketing support lead gen efforts? It helps you differentiate in a crowded market. There's no question that the health tech landscape right now is really competitive. It's very noisy. And a well-crafted brand that highlights your unique value proposition can help you stand out and be more memorable. Number two, the other thing it does is it can actually lower your customer acquisition costs and increase your conversion rates. A compelling brand story reduces the need for heavy investment in lead gen because it helps you attract more qualified leads, the right leads. Also, clear and emotionally resonant messaging drives conversions when you address your audience's pain points and align with their goals. So I want to share one example. We have a great referral partner called Growth Vanguard. They're a performance marketing agency, and we've seen powerful examples of how messaging can transform results. So for instance, one of their clients, which is a pediatric digital health company, initially had a fear-based narrative, and they shifted that narrative that emphasized the long-term benefits to patients. And with that shift, they were able to reduce their customer acquisition costs by 56%. And the third benefit is that it can really help you shorten your sales cycles. So even though healthcare buyers have longer learning journeys to make buying decisions, a strong brand story can ultimately help to shorten your sales cycles. Clear, consistent messaging aligned with a strong brand identity simplifies the decision-making process for buyers. When you address buyer pain points directly and highlight how your solution meets their needs, this ultimately reduces confusion and hesitation and reduces a lot of friction in the sales process. What are the key elements of a branding strategy that supports lead generation? The first is consistent messaging and visuals across all your channels. So whether it's your website, your social media profile, or any of your sales materials, everything should align with your brand identity so that you can build trust and recognition. Consistency in tone, your visuals, and your value proposition makes your brand feel cohesive and credible. And without this, you can really dilute trust and confuse your buyers. The other key element is emotional connection. So people don't just buy products, they buy solutions to their challenges. A brand that speaks directly to their pain points and goals will engage them more deeply and move them further down the funnel. We at our agency, we like to do market research with buyers, which can be really helpful for understanding those pain points and motivators. The last element of a branding strategy that I want to mention is that it should be measurable and adaptable. You want to use data to track how well your branding supports your growth goals, like engagement, conversion rates, and cost per lead, and then refine your approach based on what resonates most with your audience. In terms of key tactics for building a strong healthcare brand for lead gen, I like to think of it as the 3 C's: contact, clarity, and credibility. Here's just a few examples of how they can be applied. For contact, an example of this is building relationships through multi-touch nurture campaigns. You can use a strategic cadence of things like emails, webinars, and follow-ups to educate and engage prospects over time. You really want to focus on solving problems rather than doing overt sales pitches so that you can build trust during those longer sales cycles. The second key tactic is clarity. An example of this is really showing the product experience and showing, not just telling. We come across a lot of companies that use a lot of words and bullet points and these long descriptions to tell people about what they do. Instead, you want to use visuals and product demonstrations, whether it's screenshots, short videos, maybe dashboards showcasing real-world scenarios. And this can help to really eliminate ambiguity and show people how your product fits into their lives. So let's talk about that last C, which is credibility. An example of this is leveraging data and success stories to build trust. You want to pair measurable outcomes with case studies to highlight the real-world impact of your solution. And for newer companies that may not have that level of data, you can always leverage customer quotes or feedback to demonstrate early success. So now you've got all the pieces. How do you know it's working? When it comes to measuring brand success, I tend to think about KPIs at various stages of the funnel. So if we think about top of funnel metrics related to brand awareness, you can look at things like website traffic. You can also look at impressions. So if you're doing an awareness campaign through LinkedIn ads, you can look at how many impressions those ads have garnered. In terms of mid-funnel metrics, I look at engagement rates. So how are people engaging with your marketing assets? For example, when it comes to your emails, how many people are opening those emails? What's your click-to-open rates? Things like that. And then there's lead quality. What percentage of your marketing leads are actually converting to sales leads? Then, of course, you've got your bottom of funnel metrics, which are things like conversion rates and customer acquisition cost.